What's up, everybody? It's Supersmallchibiwolf, and today I'm going to be talking about the fun yet consoling side of collecting, whether it's toys, games, cards, etc. This all fits into the collecting in general, you know what I mean? So let's get into this. So the first thing I would like to talk about is, and I talked about this before in like the issues relating to retro games, part one and two, but this also fits other, forms of entertainment as well, whether it's on here or not on here, like cards and etc. etc. So high prices don't match the conditions, and some sales, they're like delusional. For example, I went to a store. I remember I went to see this game, right? It was like Super Mario 64 I saw on display and other games, right? Really, they sold million copies, very well known, all of that, right? Being priced $100 and up. I was like, wait, what? Wait, this doesn't make sense. And many times the conditions are like water damaged, scratched off, ripped the labels, discolored. You know, and this goes for a lot of things. I've seen discolored, ripped labels, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering. Some pages are like water damage on some of the mangas and stuff like that. Some toys they don't even come with the batteries. They say, oh, yeah, we don't have batteries, and then it's like, oh, you know. Now I'm not into huge into collecting the toy related stuff. Um, I have the plushies, I have my stuff over there. I think I'm satisfied. Same with collecting the cards. It's fun, but hey man, I think I'm good, you know what I mean? So yeah, and that's another thing, when to know when is it like over. But I'll get into that point later on. But back to the prices and stuff. Yeah, many times they for example, a lot of them, and I see this, they have a game, right? Say Super Mario 64, right? Let's use that. One of the most common games in retro gaming history, right? And then a lot of times it doesn't matter what the condition is. Many of them want to try to sell for around $70 and up, and sometimes in really rare cases, 100 plus. And it's like, yo, number one, it doesn't even have. It's not even CIB. It's not like why this expensive. You know what I mean? And many times like okay fine it comes with a cartridge protector. Still doesn't justify $100 for Super Mario 64. I know. By the way, this could fit in many games and many toys, manga, etc. But I'm just using Super Mario 64. So yeah, just want to let everyone know. But a lot of times I'm like, I look at these items and I'm like, yo, these cards are discolored. Or and then they trying to bundle all them for like say $30 for like I don't know like 20 something cards, and many of them are like bad condition and stuff. And it's not even like oh it's a rare cards or really popular. It's like just basic stuff. You know what I mean? Like at that point you just could go online, do a simple search, and boom, you could get like 100 cards for like $50 or something. You know. Sometimes I go to these stores and I look at these things and I'm like, man, this is kind of ridiculous. The prices don't match the conditions, and it's like, yo, this is just weird. You know what I mean? Like, mm, in my opinion, overall, yeah, that's something to watch out for. If you see like some prices and conditions, they're not equal to each other. Like I recommend just moving on from that. So yeah. Another thing I would like to cover is time. For example, it takes time to go to places, do stuff. This fits especially adults. We mostly have responsibilities and stuff, and going out be disappointed tends to suck. You know what I mean? This is another thing that's kind of felt like, you know what I mean? Is it really worth going? And many times, like these places, I don't know for everyone else, but it tends to be a little bit far from where I am. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like, eh. And many places either are closing or opening, and then like, but like in far distance though. So it's like, But I would also give the advice at that point. Um, it's good and bad. Like for example, you know, you go to a store, right? You say you want to collect cards, right? Say Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? You like, okay, yo, this place has Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay, if they don't have the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you don't want, maybe you're trying to collect specific cards and from a specific generation, maybe the first generation or the current generation of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to go out. I want to get blink, blink, blink. Maybe I find, Blue Eyes White Dragon today. And then, yeah, man, I'm going to have fun. And then, when you go to a store and then they don't have what you want, yeah, don't get me wrong, it sucks. But I would also say try to turn the negative into a positive by looking through other things, seeing what else they have. Maybe, who knows, maybe you find a new game series, you never heard of, and then you get into that and you find out, oh, yo, this is pretty cool. Or maybe you find a manga that you never, you heard about but not know a lot about. So you pick it up and then you just, get into it. You reading it right there in the spot and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna collect the whole series right here, right now. So you get one of these bundle packs, boxes, and then you're like, yo, I'm chilling. Or maybe you see one of those toys back then and then you're like, man, this looks amazing. So you get it. It's always good to be open minded when you go to these collecting things because a negative that I want to bring up right now, and I'm probably gonna bring it up later on because yeah, is when you go somewhere just for one specific thing and then you feel disappointed, you leave the store, you're like, you know what, man, I don't, all this time I could have been doing something else, this and that. But also, besides even that, you could also, chat with the people. Many times when I go to the store, I just see people go in, they look at their stuff, get out. And look, if you're not social, that's okay. No one's forcing you to be. But, just to give like advice, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to give advice, socialize with people. Be like, what's up? You see maybe they have other collectibles nearby that you are like, okay, this is pretty cool. Now, you could even, what was it? Share ideas with your friends and be like, yo, this is what I'm looking for. This is what you're looking for. Let's have each other's back. If I see it, I'll let you know. I'll get it in the spot. You pay me back, and then you do the same for me. I do that for you. Good stuff. You know what I mean? You having each other's backs. There's many things to make a negative into a positive when it comes down to collecting. Because when you just focus on the negative, it just becomes like you have to do it. Like it's so much weight on you, and you're like, oh my god, you know what I mean? And then you just feel like, okay, every time I'm going to go out and collect, now I have this negative attitude because I don't want to feel like being disappointed. You know what I mean? It's not good being like that. And I've seen many people like that. That's why I'm bringing it up. And I think overall, it's good to take breaks. Remember that too. If you're going to play, for example, a video game or a movie, if you're going to be watching the same movie or playing the same video game for 3 years straight, not even maybe casually seeing other stuff, it's going to get boring. You know what I mean? It's not going to be fun. And look, even though you like many things, you know, it's also great to expand the what was the horizon of entertainment. You know what I mean? Just to, even though you might not be so into it, at least you gave it a shot and said, you know what? Yeah, this was interesting. So yeah. Oh, and another point about that. Make a list. Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's one of the best things people could do is, and it could be a negative and a positive, and I'll explain it. So, like I said, making a list could be a negative and a positive. You know, for example, making a list could, you keep yourself in check. You could say, okay, I have this amount of money of free time each month after doing my responsibilities, paying bills, etc., etc. And this is okay. For example, right? Imagine you get paid $1,000 each month, like for example, yo, and then most of that money goes to bills and life stuff. You know what I mean? And now you're stuck with 200. How are you going to depending what you want to collect, how are you going to manage that 200? You know what I mean? You have 200 a month for entertainment for yourself. Do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to go, buy VHS? Do you want to buy some games, Pokemon cards, etc., or any cards? you know, that's another thing. So it's good to make a list because when you blindly buy things just out of random and thinking it's going to be, oh, it looks cool, let me get it. Remember, these ba- game art is the original clickbait. You know how like everyone talks about clickbait on YouTube? Yeah, and online in general. This is the original clickbait. The game box is the game art. Yo. Like for example, you see something that's like, yo, this looks amazing. You look at the back, they hyping you up. They're like, yo, making it sound like, yo, this is the most um exciting and thrilling experience ever since blank blank blank. A must have. And then another reviewer says in the back when in the back of the games when they used to review games and like say for example PlayStation 1 you could find these at the most thrilling action adventure game of all time. The fantasy is the graphics are unrealistic or something like realistic or something like that they would say, right? And then you go home and play it and then it's like boop, boop, boop. It is like, wait, what? So just keep that in mind. Also, always watch YouTube videos if you're going to pick up games to, long plays and just skip through it and see if you really actually like it. That's another advice I would give. And, um, but yeah, yo, like make a list, keep yourself accountable. Be like, yo, okay, I want these 5 games. You go to a store, you find those 5 games, and then you feel like, okay, I succeeded. You know what I mean? And that's another thing, a lot of times also have fun and like I said, have conversations, get advice, have conversations, talk with the people around you. It's a lot of people I see they forget about human interaction. Like for example, I usually go to a specific places, right, within the week and not to get into too much life stuff. But I go to specific places throughout the week to do stuff. And usually there's a game store nearby. And when I go into that game store, there's usually I say 2 guys. Most of the one dude talks more. And then, we talk about many things, not just games. We talk about movies. How you doing? How's life? You know, how was this for you? How's your day going? You know what I mean? That human interaction. A lot of people don't really, they don't do that. And don't get me wrong, like I said, not everyone's so you don't have to force yourself. But it's just a thought, you know what I mean? Always do more, you know what I mean? Don't just go there because, like I said, you go there, you're disappointed they don't have the games you want, for example, or whatever interests you into. And then it's like, ah, and then, it kind of sucks because then it leaves a bad, you know, mentality to you. And it's like, yo, I came all the way this way. Do I really want to go out collecting this weekend? Because then it's not going. I'm not going to buy nothing. This and that. No, even if you don't find them, maybe you meet like 3 friends in the store. Maybe you have a long conversation with this person, that person, and then you know what I mean. It's always good to overthink, not overthink, but do more than just doing what your main objective is. You know what I mean? So that's another advice I would say. And keep a list. Yes, so you keep in check, be responsible, be like, yo, this is what I want. Boom. And, that's what I've been doing. I have my list. I know what I want. I I do take shots, chances at times. And I would say, yeah, at times it works out for me. But then at times I'm like, I play the game before buying though. You don't get me wrong, you know. But I'm like, yo, and a lot of times that I feel that way, like there's many games that I thought I would like. I play it, not buy it, but play it first, and then I'm like, damn. There's a lot of big classics, especially on the Nintendo 64, that I was like, dude, this isn't that great. It doesn't deserve to be in the top 10, you know. And I'm not talking about Nintendo's first party games. I'm talking about the third party games. Some of them are like, and also, um, what was it? There's another reason bringing up this topic of things. I would also say that when it comes down to going to these stores, also call up if you really just want to go there just for the collect, And there's nothing wrong. Sometimes you just want to collect. You do you. Like I said, not everyone's social, and it's not good to push people, make them uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So just call up the store. Yo, do you have so and so? Do you have this and that? Do you have this collection? No, thank you. Bye. A good way. You know, because my main point is try to maintain a healthy collecting while feeling satisfied. You know what I mean? Because many people I'm in, and then they just have this negative perspective of collecting, and many times even I'm not gonna lie, it tends to be a little bit annoying. Especially, you know what I hate? This is what made me one reason. There's a few reasons I want to make this video, but one reason is that people say, dude, I call up a store, right? And I say, yo, do you have so and so? Yeah, we do. Oh, okay. I'm gonna be there, okay? Okay, don't worry, it never sells out. It's been here for over a year. And then it's like, I get there, and at times they say, oh, we'll just save it for you, man. Don't get me wrong. Dude, yes, yes, that's what happened. Yes, they said, we'll save it for you. And then I said, okay, you want to get my name, number? Okay, boom. This dude said to me, "Oh yeah, man. You see, I know you wanted that, but someone came in. They wanted that also, and I thought that was you." I said, "Then why did you ask for my name and number on the phone call?" It's like what? I don't know. I just found it kind of like really, but even then, I was like, okay, whatever. I moved on from that. I walked around, saw a few games. They had a Now they didn't have a kiosk, and that was another store. But we started having conversations, and long story short, it was a good time. You know what I mean? So turning a negative into a positive. You know, so that's an example, turning a negative into a positive. And at times some stores don't even save things. They like, what, first come first serve. In a way, then I'm against it, but I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand it in this perspective of, hey, yo, imagine if you were the dude walking in, or the girl walking into the store that, you don't know the store, you're just walking by, you just saw the store, you go in, and then, oh, it's a game you want. You know what I mean? I want to buy this. Then you see, it's not a bad thing because you're the one getting it. But if someone does that, say if it's reversed and you're the one who called, but someone else did it, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Understandable. So I try to keep that in mind as well. You know what I mean? And I think that's a thing that a lot of people, they kind of biased. They like, you know what? If that happened to me, I'm mad. If I'm the one doing it, then I'm happy. And I don't know. Just keep in mind. That's why I say, have conversations, have fun, keep your interests open. You know, other things, because not everything's 100% guaranteed, in my opinion. So that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I would also like to talk about modern and upcoming side of gaming and collecting, whatever. By the way, I may say gaming a lot, but this also covers other things too. And you know, even though it's fun to collect these retro stuff, and it gets exciting. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. And it's good to, like I said, talk to people, have fun, you meet new friends. It's all exciting. It's especially in conventions. You don't know what you go to find, who you go to meet. It's like, amazing. You know what I mean? And it's good times. You know, I made friends. During these conventions and store meetups, etc., etc. You know what I mean? So I know how it is. It's good times. But let's not forget about like the modern times as well, because like for example, it's the PS5 and Switch is out, for example, and like the Super Mario Wonder game, right? If you collect in other games, then in 5 years from now you're like, oh yo, when did this game come out? Super Mario Wonder, and this and that. Now I personally plan to get Super Mario Wonder before this year ends and play that as well. I've been like, Kel, this personal experience, me talking from my experience, you know, like I haven't gotten Super Mario Wonder yet and played it, even though I'm excited and am waiting to play it, in the future. But yeah, man, when it comes down to it, it's good to collect these retro stuff, good to collect the classics, but let's not just, brush away the new stuff as well. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of great games coming out, a lot of great cards coming out, mangas coming out, new stories always being developed of new genres. I mean, of new franchises and series, and then you have like new. Okay, let's be honest. Like the classics are way better nowadays. The toys nowadays, I don't see a lot of them coming out, or like they just put it like I don't know. Like I've shopped toys for younger people that I know, but yeah, that I don't know. I know about the classic toys, you know, but not the modern that much. I don't know. It's like $60, $70 for a toy from last time I checked in these toy stores. Okay, let's talk about that shit real quick. Like, what the fuck is going on with these toys, yo? It's like $70. Like, shit. At that point, I better be able to connect that fucking straight to my phone. At that point, like, what the hell? But yeah, that's besides the point. But my back to topic. Remember the modern stuff also. There's really great modern things out there, and there's wonderful collector editions of modern things and fun modern stuff. So keep in mind to also go for the modern stuff as well. Maybe there's something amazing and unique at the time that you're like, oh yo, I could have been there and collected for that, but I wanted to collect for Genesis, Super Nintendo. You know what I mean? So try to keep that in mind as well. Not every game that releases is broken, and don't trust me. A lot of games are like that. I know for sure, and that pisses me off. But not every game's like that. You know what I mean? Like for example, I'm looking forward to Tekken 8. I'm day one. I'm gonna be there. The King of Fighters 15. I've been there since day one. I love that game. you know so those are two examples of don't miss out on the modern stuff, because it could surprise you and be like amazing, like how the King of Fighters 15 is to me. You know what I mean? So that's a small thing to keep in mind. Don't miss out on the modern excitements in life as well. So moving on, I'm going to bring up what I wanted to talk about earlier. Is This is the most important and most serious thing, and doesn't matter what you collect: games, manga, cards, etc., calls, movies. Keep this in mind. There has to be an end. You know what I mean? Every story that starts must end, or it will feel like a endless loop, and you will lose interest, love, passion. Why you think I don't get into One Piece? That shit never ends. It has 1,000 plus and still, but no, all seriousness, no hate to One Piece. But keep in mind, what was once passion can turn into frustration or not fun, and that you know what I mean. And that at that point it just sucks. At that point you just collect and just collect, and it's not fun. You know what I mean? And plus, make sure that a lot of stuff that you have is being used, or is getting the love that it deserves and stuff. You know, just to have popular, iconic things in life, like for example, you know, Tamagotchi collection or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Super Nintendo games just because they're popular. It's look, in my opinion, it's not. It's like what, why, I question that, but then at the same time, it's like, you know, don't get me wrong, you do you, all you want. I'm not trying to say it on, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean, like. There is a point where it's like, yo, dude, constantly doing the same thing. Like for me personally, this is my exam. I mean, for me, um, I'm kind of like burned out. You know what I mean? Seeing, I've talked about retro games and this and that. I'm kind of burned out on that, man. Like I have my list. I have like few games left. I plan to collect those and then I'm done. Goodbye, retro games. You know what I mean? I'm going to enjoy the stuff I have. I'm gonna do my stuff and leave the other stuff. Hopefully, you all find those things, but I'm good. I'm satisfied with what I have and the few four things that I'm looking for. You know what I mean? And Also, when you finish collecting something, yo, you feel good. Like just think about it. Think about the last time you finished a game. You beat a long game, or you beat a game that you really loved, and or that was in your backlog, or say you collected that card collection, those cards that you're looking for, or that manga said that, or those toys, or whatever you collect. Remember that. Think real quick. How did that feel? You know what I mean? That felt good, right? All say all these days, weeks, months, years looking for that, and you finally found it, and it lives up to the hype, and you're excited. Oh man, and many times it doesn't live up to the hype. I learned that firsthand. You know what I mean? Like I said, game wise, and other things. Movies and stuff, and also just keep. I think that's another important thing to keep in your mind and remember that stuff. Because when you finish, it's good. You know what I mean? You good. You completed. You went on this adventure. You had fun. You met friends. You had an enjoyment. Yeah, you met some cells, scalpels, etc. And maybe if you were smart enough, you didn't fall for those. You could meet up. You could come across them, but that doesn't mean just because just because you come across them doesn't mean you fell for their stuff. You know what I mean? You're just supposed to like, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm moving on. Goodbye. I see. Like I said, Super Mario 64, 100 plus. Hell no. Like Uh, and you do, it's crazy because I started with Super Mario 64 and N64, and then now look at here, I'm looking for it again because the other one, man, that's just, oh, man. You know, I've been, I think I said this in the beginning, but yo, I know how it feels. It's heartbreaking when you're robbed, you get your stuff broken, and other shit. It's like, yo, come on, man, you know, and me moving and all that, man. That's happened before, man. It sucks, but moving on from all that, you know, long story short, to close this point up, just please think and think about that. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be like, you look back at your collection. I mean, like your collection. Yeah, what's better? For example, let me word it this way: looking at your collection of games. I'm gonna use games again. Example: you're looking back at your Super Nintendo collection of games and thinking, oh man, I finished my collection and that's all? Or you think about it and say, yo, I don't remember when I collected Super Mario Sunshine for GameCube. I don't remember when I collected Parasite Eve when I went with my friend and we went over there. We met, we were playing arcade games over there because many retro game stores have arcades in them, the classic, authentic arcades and stuff. So that's cool. Or say when you went to collect Super Famicom or Famicom games, you're like, yo, I remember when we went to that convention, man. We met three friends, man. We all had fun. We went out to eat after. We went out to watch a movie. Now look at us playing Mario Party, and you know what I mean. Like it's good to make that a lot of people forget. That's what I'm talking about, and yeah, man. So when you look back at all the day I got Final Fantasy 6 or Final Fantasy 3 and other places, but Final Fantasy 6 for Super Nintendo, you feel like, yo, it's not just that I got Final Fantasy 6. I remember that's the day I met my friend, man, and we still chilling. Yo, and yo, that was 20 years ago or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things we need to also think about as collectors, not just let's just collect. You know what I mean? Make it an experience, make it a memory that's positive. Turn a negative into a positive, and that's how you do it. So, yeah. One advice that I would give also is, one of the most important things is don't get too emotionally connected into the collecting. You know what I mean? For example, you don't want something that was like once passionate, full of love and excitement to turn into an addiction. Because at that point, it's just like, okay, this ain't fun no more, and you're stressing out. You feel like you have to. You feel like this and that, and then at that point, it's like, yo, we need to keep in mind, like, like this is fun. This is for entertainment. This is for excitement. This isn't. Don't turn this enjoyment, these love for different characters and things and objects into something that's like, yo, okay, now you don't have money for to eat, you don't have money for this or that. That's important. You know what I mean? Like it's important to keep in mind to like, yo, this is fun and all, but you don't want to overdo it to the point of, oh man, I regret this. I regret doing that. I get regret, and and then when you look back at your stuff, it's like, man, like, I could have done better. You know what I mean? And man, trust me, like that's I've learned this, but not with collecting. I learned this in the way of chibi reviews. Like for example, I used to review a lot of animes and games, right? And like I used to use that not to get too personal, but I used it in a way to like reviewing. I used to do it as an escape, you know what I mean? Because during certain times in the past, early 2020s, well, it's still early 2020s, but I'm, older, let's say, um, things. And so I used to make chibi reviews. I watched anime, I wrote down my review, I reviewed it, I had fun, but then I just constantly started doing it. Then one day, I released a review, and then I'm like, oh, it was bad audio because at the time my software had to update, and I don't even use that software no more. In fact, I need to delete it. I just use this software that you're seeing right now that I'm recording on, and I'm like, oh man, I kept doing it. I kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and then it just came to the point of like, yo, I don't like this. Like this is not fun no more. This I feel like it's something that I don't. It's something like I'm forcing myself to do. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do this no more. I don't. This is not love. This is not passion. This is like work. This is like, you know what I mean? And it's not fun no more. And when I'm collecting the games and seeing, and there's a mixture of reasons, like there's, you bad resells, there's bad conditions trying to be overpriced, there's this and that. I'm getting to that point of gaming as well, the retro games. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus on the modern game. I'm just gonna collect my few games and then I'm out, you know. And also I feel like there's an end. You know what I mean? I want there to be an end. I don't want to be constantly collecting 5 years from now. Oh, I want to get this Super Nintendo game. And it's like, nah, man. Like, there needs to be a cutoff. You know what I mean? I think this is just weird. So overall, just keep that in mind, um, because you don't want to be looking, like for example, the longest looking for things you want the longest time, and it's just like sad looking back at the time you could have been doing this and that, and then it's like, yo, 10 years passed, and now look where you at. You know what I mean? So that's just something that I wanted to bring up, and that I think not a lot of people, talk about that in these types of videos, but yeah, it's important. The last thing I want you to all remember and keep in mind also, and this is one of the most important things before, after, in the middle of, remember to always cherish the moments. Whether it's your loved ones, whether it's, you go and say to the stores with your family members, like your brothers, sisters, cousins. Maybe you go with your friends. Maybe you meet new people in a convention. Maybe you go to a store and you're like, yo, how you doing, man? Hey, I'm looking for so and so. You start a conversation with the owner or one of the locals, and then you constantly going there, and you having fun. You look at the things around you, and you don't always need to buy. You know what I mean? Just because you go to a store doesn't mean you need to buy. You know what I mean? You could go there for conversation, just to be surrounded by this stuff and just look and view. You know, and whatever you do, maybe they have arcade machines, and it's good to remember it's always fun to go for the adventure, you know, to have fun, to see, to hear about things, and to conversations and other stuff. Many collectors have an idea that they want, they don't get me wrong, like I said, a lot of people are into conversations and stuff like that. But it's always great. Maybe you go to a store, you discover a new interest. Something like, yo, that's pretty cool. And it doesn't need to be an interest. Doesn't need to be like, oh, I want to collect this thing now. No, it doesn't have to be like that. Like, hey, maybe the guy could be like, yo, dude, I also have my personal art relating to popular video game art that I do. Maybe you're into that art that I do, like say spray painting, or maybe doing something in canvas, and then you're like, yo, that's pretty cool, man. Can you do this? Can you do something like this? Can you do? And now you have another interest. You're interested in art and other stuff. There's different things, to keep in mind. It's always good to overthink things in a positive way, not in a negative way. And, you know, overthinking things positively, is good because you could be like, you know what, it's healthy. It's more of a, instead of being like, I want, it's more like, yo, that was a good thing, man. I enjoyed that, man. Let's see if you could do this. So, you know, different things, it depends, it all depends. Um, so yeah, also, keep, checks. I would also say this, another advice is to keep a list, stay with your list, always check off the things you have already. Collect smarter, not harder. And, try to find the best deals. And remember to meet new people and talk. It's always good to say what's up once in a while to people. So that's another advice I would give. So, with everything, I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if any of this fits you, helps you, this advice made you think a certain way. Let me know everything, maybe you agree, disagree, maybe you have your own perspectives and helpful advice to share with other people in the comments. Let us all know. I'm always interested in seeing comments, seeing what other people have to say, seeing different perspectives, and maybe you all make points that I have made, missed or not thought of. So I'm interested in that stuff. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, bye.